What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. We always talk about price spikes, buyouts, this card's going crazy, but let's talk about some historic and record crazy price falls going on here lately, starting with the Bestial package, which had insane numbers on super rares out the gate, while Tier Limit got shoved out of the way by Konami. Magnum now under $10. Drew a Storm is coming down real bad to 255 listings, and even Lubellion, which is played in its own Dragon Link variants, it is coming down in price too. It is nice to see this package come and actually get way more reasonable, but still pretty expensive for super rares. Also, thanks to Tier Limit, going super poly came way down in price, and the ultimate rares have bottomed out just huge. Look, like during the max of some of the tier hype, you see $168. Now it's about half that price, with some sales around that $80 mark. $240 for a playset sounds way better than above $500 to me, but the Starlight rare is actually creeping up, so if you like the ultimate rare, it might get prospected next, so you might want to get it sooner than later using that TCG player link in the description down below, costing you nothing extra to support the channel directly for the cards you'd already be buying. But Starlights get speculated on a lot more because they're just expansive and crazy hard to get, but the quarter century rare is coming too, and they're going to have accessible versions within the Legendary Collection Game Board Edition, and people are going to get a taste for Starlights, but the specific ones reign king. I think Junk Starlights will continue to bottom out a little bit more, and the ones that people really want, that are iconic, that are good, that get played in metagames, they'll get speculated on harder, assuming the ban list doesn't get in the way. And speaking of ban lists, Instant Fusion is no stranger to being looked at and said, that should be going away, oh my gosh, it's a crazy card. Yeah, it's always at worst a 1-for-1 and at best crazy pluses, right? But the ultimate rare, I feel like this is underexplored in some past formats. It's been around since Cyberdark Impact, really good card, but it is down in price so bad to the point that you can get it for around 90, and many under that triple digit. The whole front page is under $100. So nice to see that versus what people used to be paying on this around the 170, 180. Really nice to see high rarity cards come down, and this isn't just from like prices falling out, everything was too hot during the crush card era. No, this is more recent spikes and recent fallouts, 2022 to 2023, so metagame involvement, those kinds of things, even with max rarity cards, as we have seen, and it's great to see them fall out. Now let's go ahead and talk about some price spikes and what's going on with Gold Sarcophagus. Well, Secret Rare is the nicest looking mid-max rarity out of Hidden Summoners of all places, and it's spiking up for Branded Despia, and it is going up above $5. There's tons of choices if you want a cheap one. I believe the branded, Albaz Strike actually came with this card in the structure, so you don't have to worry about it. This is for upgrade purposes. There's also the Pharaoh rares, which actually the Secret Rare has just been going down. Nobody's paying attention to it, and I do agree the Ultra Rare really fits this card a lot better than Secret. There's a couple of cards where that Ultra Pharaoh Rare just looks better, and this by far is one of them. It's actually spiked even on the American market over here with people going after, but do keep in mind these were EU only, so they're going to be harder to get on TCG Player and places like that, and going to replenish less, but it has spiked over on our market for English Pharaoh Rare by a good margin. The Secret ones are 1/3 the freaking price at this point, and people would much rather settle for the Secret Rare right now, it seems. I still think Hieroglyphs over this is kind of cool, but I also think it would be kind of like, oh man, I really wish it was the Ultra Rare. Weird enough to say when having a playset of these, so I kind of understand why people aren't biting on them. We have Drytron spiking up in price. Drytron best deck. A lot of rumblings about it being really good. Again, you see that Nova and other collectors, they're up in price, down on quantities, and a lot of people are speculating and looking at this deck. You also have Meteonis down in quantities. It would be nice to see some reprints on this. I don't think any are currently slated, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is starting to go. Again, it's a very specific play style though, so I do think there's kind of a ceiling, but maybe you live long enough as the villain of a deck from a time to become the hero, which often happens in Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, the pack tax, it's coming back. Pack has been featuring cards, they've been going up in price. Trap Tricks especially, he's leading the charge there, and you see just record prices on certain Starlights. Trap Tricks, Sarah the Secret Rare, going back up, and you do have him featuring not in Traptrix, Elemental Hero Prisma elsewhere. I forget exactly what this is about. My Discord alerted me to it, but do let me know in the comments section down below. It's been a long freaking day with a lot of information. But when it comes to Elemental Hero Prisma, this also has past formats, of course also Gladiator Beast, and it just hasn't been reprinted in a pretty good amount of time, and they're all somewhat hard to get, so understandable the ridiculous prices that are starting to bubble up for certain versions of this. But I was actually thinking Time Space Trap Hole was first, and I got mind wiped. He featured this. People are looking at it. It luckily has an OTS Pack 21 printing as a common, but even those are getting eaten off the market, and the OG Secret Rare, the Mega Pack Secret Rare, and even the Gold are going up in prices. People want it as a tech option for Traptrix. And I wanted to point out with Traptrix specifically, the structure deck is doing better than retail, and it is starting to kind of spike up there. You might want to actually get your sooner than later between evenly matched hand traps, the actual strategy itself. If you're interested in this, I wouldn't hold off too long. It's not going to go on clearance or anything like that. I think it's going to end up selling out most likely when it comes to this deck. Your main hopium would be an unlimited wave. Who knows how many years from now when it comes to this. So I definitely would want to get these if you want to keep them sealed for long term, or you want to get them to bust open and play with for the resources inside sooner than later with this one. Marincess is going up in price. Apparently a couple of results at the regional level, and people just don't want to read cards. Even though this was heavily played in Master Duel, I still think it's a pretty decent deck. You do have stuff specifically from Duelist Pack, but just huge quantities as people try to burn and turn duels from the deep. There's too much water there to do that. Jokes aside, though, you can actually see on the graphs of like Marincess Blue Slug max rarity that they're starting to spike and go back up to their previous hype of when new support was coming. And you also have Coral Anemone. The first edition was bottoming out. It is starting to rise rapidly once again, along with the tide, around $9 at this point for a first edition. Ancient Sacred Weaving, I don't know why. I played a stupid OTK Blue Eyes deck with the Mythic Rulers back in the day based around this, where you like emergency teleport. Yeah, you want to hear about my bad deck, don't you? Emergency teleport, Rise Bell, target Maiden, Synchro 7, be able to have a Blue Eyes out there, exact 8,000 damage. Yeah, I have no clue why this is doing it at this point. Let me know in the comment section down below. Xyz Encores for something more relevant, the Purely Takeover. Apparently Pureleys can make some really crazy, just insane stuff, and Xyz Encore is what you want against them is the Rumbling, and it's going up. This has been overhyped before, but has also found its way into metagame, so it's hard to tell, and there's another card that goes along with that. But looking at the Purely prices, they're stabilizing even higher. This is almost $100 collector rare right now for the Purely. It's really stuck. It's landing, some coming back down, others starting to spike once again like Noir, and you have just so many crazy buyouts around this. And I gotta say, they are higher in price than I thought they would be in the ultra range, but the boxes not doing the craziest of crazy things, but they are starting to go up a bit here. Amazing Defenders might be able to pull itself out of here based on this hype alone. Crazy to say that. Herald of the Abyss is another one for the Purely stuff. You are able to make cards that would be unaffected by your effects be the choice of their owner to send. So this one is spiking up for that reason as well as a tech, and is just going haywire. The ultra rare is around $3 out of the Megatons. Again, this has a history of being overhyped, but also I get reading this card, the potential of it and the thought process going into it. The super rare not moving all that much right now. Archlord Christie is going up for Edison. Apparently it's making waves within the format once again, and the secret rares are, oh my gosh, even for damaged oh so much, and the lowest near mint unlimbs are almost $200 listed. I think with this card, it has a super big history in the game. And again, these came damaged out of the pack quite often because Stardust Overdrive had that foil edge wear out of the pack from how the cards were cut. It was in that era of quality control that was pretty bad. So finding true near mints is harder. And then it gets even worse when you're looking for a first edition. If you're looking up first edition Christia, be prepared to pay quite a bit. The lowest listed are around $775 to 800 right now. And yeah, it's gonna take a lot to end up getting one, even as a deal and a hookup price. Black Rose Dragon Starlight Rare has spiked. I called this one a long time ago. I even thought it would be a better prospect than Stardust Dragon, and Stardust has slowly been coming down a little, where this has finally gone into buyout mode. Where to land, we'll have to wait to see. $6.99. Nice though, right now. It is more expensive, and if you held off on getting this one, it's up. The conversation on Starlights versus Quarter Century Rare, and Quarter Century Rare being more accessible in some places, again, I think it'll come down to specific cards, their legacy in the game, why people want to get them, and then preferences. You still have the Ghost Rare fighting this one, right? So long term, you have something else that people can go towards and say, well, I like this more, and consider their budgets, right? It has competition versus being just a Starlight, but for people collecting Starlights or also trying to get different pass format decks and they're fans of it, it's gonna be a pretty expensive one. Thanks for watching today's Market Watch. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the conversation. I have been running 1,000,000 miles per hour, doing a ton of things lately, and the final big move into my forever home is soon. You might have noticed even the glasses off the shelves back here. So finally about to schedule it, finally about to be there. So if I'm gone for a little bit of an extended period, that's most likely what I'm doing, is actually taking care of business and saying goodbye to the House of Champs that you've known and getting into the forever House of Champs. Thanks for watching, everybody.